Hi everybody and every pony, welcome back to the Story Flicker, read by Forrest McGilvray, and the stories by Xenopony. Now, as far as you know, yesterday was payday, and this isn't even just the only bit of it. I'm gonna get some more Saturday. The Hanahuchi's over, and I had a great time there. I'm gonna get 800. This is only a little bit of what I made my payday, and on Saturday I'm gonna get paid even more than this. I'm gonna be holding bands, man. It's a great time, and I really hope you guys have a great day too, because for real, you know when you're at work and you get that payday, you be like, oh, because I'm getting a car, man. I'm getting a car. I got that. I'm gonna get me a new computer so that way I can do more videos for you guys. And I also want to thank Forsaken Paladin 616, because for real, I really will start a series. I just want you guys to let me know you want that. If you guys really want me to start a series and read fan fictions and stuff like that myself, I'd be happy to. As long as I have awesome fans like you that want to hear it, like I said in the comment for Paladin. And I want to thank you, Paladin. That really gives me some inspiration. That means a lot to me. And I want you to know that. Thank you. And for all of you who commented, that means so much to me. You guys have no idea how happy I am. Even when I was at work today, I saw your comments, and I was just looking through it. I did dishes and looked at your comments all at the same time. I was happy. I'm still happy. And I really want to hear more from you. That means a lot to me. And I want to thank you guys so much for my subscriptions and for the comments. You don't know how much I wanted comments in my comment box. You guys came at the right time. I'm going to say that. You're my friends. No, you're my family. Thank you. Anyway, we're going to give quick shout-outs to Anonymous Chameleon, Darkfire Pone 3, Vinyl's Best Pony, of course, Forsaken Paladin 616, Your Princess Moonbutt, and we found out Your Princess Moonbutt likes candy floss. I remember having those little candy floss. You remember the little candies that you make necklaces out of and you can eat them? I remember that in the 90s. And I remember on Halloween, those little sweet tart skeletons. If you remember them being in the coffins and shit, you can keep the coffins and eat the skeleton bones that were made of sweet tart. I love those. Those things are so good. But yeah, keep letting me know what you guys like in the comment box. What's your favorite candy from Halloween? For real, that's interesting. I used to fuck with candy floss. Candy floss was really, really cool. For real, it was awesome. Without further ado, let's continue into the story. And oh, things are just not looking good. Applejack just got whacked. Oh.
Design. Then, in the middle of a corridor, lined by ghostly sets of black pony armor, Twilight paused, almost causing Starlight to leap out of her skin as she backed into her.
Took that armor, I swear.
What is it? She asked in a whimper, turning to look at the puzzled alicorn. I don't know. This place looks familiar, but I have no idea where we are, she groaned, forehooves pressing to her temple. What? You said you knew the way out, Twilight. We can't be lost, Spike responded, fear once again surging into his tone like a flood.
You don't know.
That only seemed to make Twilight's dread grow all the more, however, and she paced desperately, trying to search her mind for the answers while desperately keeping her terror at bay. I don't know, Spike. I'm trying, okay? She exclaimed. Then her head fell slightly. I need you to know that I'll never let anything happen to you, okay? Her voice crackling with an unsettlingly terrified madness. Before she could continue, Starlight moved to Twilight's side and lifted the princess's chin with a hoof, putting on her best smile. Come on, Twilight. Don't give up on us now. We still need you, she said simply, doing all she could to hide her desperation. All Twilight did was look into the darkness ahead emptily, and Starlight swallowed nervously. Twilight? Her meek words did no better to enter Twilight's mind than they would the crushing darkness around them. But the alicorn just nodded stiffly. It was the best indication any pony had that there was any hope of escape. Accepting the fact, Starlight reluctantly moved back to her place behind Twilight, only to scream, The sight of the glowing frill flashed only seconds before a monstrous set of glistening black claws reached out of the gloom to strike her. Instinct drove the unicorn to duck, as the claws smashed into one of the sets of armor, cutting a deep gash through the metal as it clattered to the floor. Before she could even think about anything else, she sent a wild blast of blue fire right up into where she could only guess the thing was hidden. Illuminated for mere seconds, she saw the sleek, black body of the thing as its wet, rubbery skin was scorched by fire. Then the thing recoiled from the flames with a pained hiss and vanished with a bright flash of blue light. Yet, this time, it didn't go far. "Run!" Starlight called, and without another word, she took off. Twilight and Spike only inches behind her. There was a shifting in the gloom, then a horrific shriek as the creature charged after them. No more than its bright lights were visible, but the sound of its large body slamming the armored stands aside as its thudding steps beating against the stone were all too real. Then came the ripping chatter of its frills, sounded as it magically darted up along the walls towards them. In the lead, all Starlight could think about was each passing pillar or piece of tattered tapestry. Each one was either between her and the monster, but it was a futile hope, and soon enough, the sound of the thing's breath was almost upon her as she panted. Without thinking for more than a second, Starlight took a sharp right down another hall, hoping to Celestia that Twilight could follow. She didn't have time to look back, no matter how much she wanted to, but the sound of Twilight's exhausted breath and the rapid clothing of her hoofsteps were still thankfully close behind her. It was after only a few moments that she began to realize they might be the only set of steps that were still pursuing her, and she dared to stop running. Twilight almost collided with her student's rump as she came to an abrupt halt and instantly looked back into the darkness. There was no sign of their hunter, and at that, both of them had little choice but to fall against the wall that they...
Futile hope. Remember that shit? That sounds like one of them not so good things. I'd rather have some hope. Not futile hope. Hope sounds a lot better than that. As long as they're encouraging each other. And I thought AJ was going to get out that bitch for real. Because AJ be surviving some tough shit. You remember I remember in one of the seasons that tiger with the snake and the goat head. I remember that shit. I don't remember what that thing was called, but I remember she kicked that thing's ass. Looked like I remember she took that chair out. It looked like a lightsaber that someone edited a lightsaber. I was like, oh hell no. But for real, like even though that was just an edit, I thought that was I thought AJ was gonna get out. I thought she survived shit. And if you guys ever read or heard of the Apple sleep experiment or something, I'm about to do a reaction video on that. But I will, like I said, I will try to do like readings of my own. But I gotta know where to read. So if you guys know where I could read fan fictions, even though Fanfiction is one of the places where you could read it, but I'm just trying to see if there's like an app or something I can use for my phone, because I just have my phone right now. I don't got no computer, like I don't got a laptop or none of that, because all of them broke. I had like 3 of those motherfuckers and they broke. So, but yeah, if you guys can find like, you know, better places where I could read fan fiction, let me know in the comment below, and I will literally read fan fictions when you guys like want to hear a fan fiction. You know what I'm saying? So, and not only that, I think not just the Apple sleep experiment was awesome. It had Applejack in it, and she sounded like she could tear ass for real in that story. Like she'd buck someone up. But the well with Applejack in it, the well was good too. I forget who those who the stories are by. I will try to get to those, but those are good stories. Applejack's my type of survival pony for real. But oh yeah, and I never let you know, if I were to be a pony, most likely be a unicorn. I'm about magic too, even though I wouldn't use really magic for everything. But you know, I'd be like kind of, you know, earth / magic. I'd be a little bit about that. So yeah.
Gasped for breath. "You think that thing's still after us?" Spike
really
asked,
flying,
frantically looking between the 2 bears and the darkness behind him. Twilight opened her muzzle as if to respond, but Spike's words could
So, like,
not have come
Rarity,
at a
when she
worse
had her
time.
plastic wings and shit.
The darkness flickered,
Same story.
the pulsating blue light accompanied by an equally chilling echo as it slowly stalked towards them. Both Twilight and Starlight turned, backing away as fast as they could. All the while, neither dared take their eyes off the thing. Then, each of them felt something that made their hearts stop. The cold touch of jagged stone met their haunches, and only one brief look back solidified the fact that the tunnel ahead had collapsed. Caught between a wall and the ravenous hunter, panic began to burn like wildfire within every pony. Then the blue glow vanished, rendering the dark creature invisible.
Well, bitch is gonna die tonight. Just for real, if we were fight or flight, like, you know, fight or flight mode for real, I would have just taken a sword from one of those armored statues for real. I would have just been, I would be hacking the fuck out of whatever. I don't know.
No.
Personally,
Please,
I wouldn't be able to beat that
come on.
bitch.
There has to be a way through. Starlight begged as she beat her hooves
Has
against
to
the
be.
stone and tried to rip at the thick wall with her magic. Her
Just
efforts
blow it
only
up.
resulted
Blow a
in more
hole in the
rock
wall.
falling into
Kaboom!
place. Yet, her frantic struggle was
Make some
only
noise.
interrupted by Twilight as the alicorn called out. There! Get through there! Looking to where Twilight was pointing, Starlight could make out a small crack in the ruined wall, just big enough for some pony to crawl through. Before any of them could argue, Twilight shoved Spike towards the hole and motioned for Starlight to go through after him. You want to go through there? But what if there's more of those things in there? Or it's another dead end? Or... The baby dragon panicked as Starlight
It's either
pushed
that or
past
get
him
eaten.
and peered into the small crawl space.
I prefer
Looks
not
clear,
to be
Spike.
a pizza.
Follow me. I'll go first. She volunteered, then looked at Twilight. All the alicorn did was give her a small smile of appreciation. Then there was
pizza made
another
of
low
flesh.
hiss in the shadows. It became clear that their hunter wasn't oblivious to the new revelation, and its glow appeared again as it darted forwards. Spike looked between the hole and Twilight with a pleading look, as Starlight crawled inside. Go, Spike. I'll be right behind you, Twilight instructed, pushing him into the hole with her hind hoof and backing right up against it. Twilight! The dragon called desperately, but before he could do anything, Starlight's magic pulled him back. Tears streamed from the unicorn's face as she struggled to squirm through the dusty tunnel of jagged rock, all the while dragging the struggling Spike away from the closest friend he'd ever had.
No!
From the darkness outside the confined space, there was a series of weak purple flashes, then a bright blue burst of light, and a fearsome shriek as Twilight screamed, her cry of terror cut off by a wet gasp. Starlight could crawl no more as she heard her mentor's voice fade into the gloom. Her horn's glow faded as she released Spike. Behind her,
Can't
the dragon
do
sat
that.
motionlessly, and Starlight struggled to turn her head back to look at him. A part of her longed to see the lavender alicorn come crawling triumphantly out of the darkness. Yet, there was nothing but a dead stillness. Then the dust fluttered, and the whole tunnel seemed to quiver as the close air shifted. One brief flicker sparked from the entrance hole, and the sight of those quivering jaws caught Starlight's gaze as the thing forced its way into the tunnel after them. She telekinetically grabbed Spike, and any urge other than to crawl as fast as she could left her as she struggled through the tight, rocky tunnel. Tears flooded her eyes as she begged Celestia for any hope, any salvation. Yet,
That thing's
even as
too
she verbally
huge. How the
whimpered
fuck
and
is it
pleaded,
fitting
nothing
in there?
came but the closing walls and the clawing of the beast as it relentlessly dragged itself after them. Then, she felt moist air upon her face and looked ahead to see a small break in the rock,
What is
the
it?
tiniest glimmer of hope. With all the
Oh, I
strength
like
she had
hope.
left, she wriggled her
I
way
really
towards
like
the
hope.
opening, teeth bared as she struggled. The rock's sharp edges cut at her sides as she squeezed through, and dust stung her
go.
weeping eyes.
Let's go.
But
It
then,
hurts, but go.
against all odds, she broke out into the damp air and heaved herself free of the hole with a deep breath.
Oh.
Starlight! Starlight, help! called Spike,
Oh,
his
no.
voice muffled by the rock.
No.
Without thought, Starlight spun back to the small opening and pulled the dragon's head free with her magic. She reached in with a hoof, wrapping it around his outstretched claws to pull him out. Then she felt something hard yank at her limb, and she looked into the dragon's wide, terrified eyes as he was torn from her grasp and dragged into the hole with a painful
No,
cry
Spike!
and a scattering of
Spike!
dust.
I would've,
Spike!
oh, hell no.
Spike!
I would've
Starlight
reached in
called
that bitch. I
loudly
would've been like,
as
no,
she dove
coming
at the
fuck
hole,
out.
hooves digging
Spike!
at the rock in a
Spike!
futile effort to dig him out. Yet,
My nigga!
it was too late, and after only a
Spike!
few seconds, Starlight collapsed back and curled up into a quivering ball as she sobbed into her forehoofs.
Oh my god.
She stared at the small hole expectantly.
That's it.
Almost
It's a
any
wrap.
moment now,
That's it.
she supposed
That's
the
it.
thing would
It's
burst
a
through the rock
fucking wrap, bro.
and finally finish what it had started. Yet, before long,
I'm not
the
gonna interrupt
seconds
it right now.
became
This is-
minutes, and still the darkness remained still. Lifting her shivering head, Starlight dared take her tear-strewn eyes off the hole
Spike, my
and looked
nigga,
around.
what? No.
The small chamber in which she
You can't
found
even do that.
herself
You can't
was
do
filled with a musty dampness
fanfiction
and
you can,
bore
but you
a
just
rough
don't
set of
do
rocky
that.
walls.
Oh.
She was in a natural cave, far off from the smooth stone chambers of the castle. The blue light of her horn
Time to
shimmered
go.
against every jagged surface
Time to
of the wet
go.
rock, and the sound of rushing water could be heard in the distance. Finally, she swallowed and took a staggering breath of cold air. She had no idea what to do, but she knew one thing: water always ran to the outside. That weak fact was all that sustained
find
her
an anthill,
tormented
you'll know where
mind
there's water.
as
There's
she
water
staggered
nearby.
to her
You find an
hooves
anthill. Good
and limped
information if you
slowly
want
through the
survival
dripping
tactics.
wet maze of
If you're in
caverns.
the woods and you're lost.
Every small
Find an
movement
anthill,
in the
you'll
corner of
find
her eye, every shiver of her magic's light against the damp rock, and every distant sound made her jump. Her ears twitched like restless
I'd be
insect
sensitive as
wings,
fuck too.
and
I'd
her
be
eyes
looking around.
spun
I'd
in
be
her
alert.
skull as they darted about. Her staggered breath came out in shivering puffs of vapor, and the dampness on her coat mixed with a glistening layer of cold sweat. The air was like ice, and the water slowly pooling around her hooves didn't make the freezing sensation any better as she trembled. Then she saw it, a small dripping hole in the cave wall. Beyond it were the swirling clouds of the storm and the swaying canopy of trees. It was a way out. A small hint of relief crossed Starlight's mind. All the while, she was forced to curl her tail close and wrap her forelimbs around herself as the cold air forced her to shiver all the more. There was one other problem.
Starlight
Between her
survives,
and the
though.
small escape was a gushing torrent of foamy white water. Taking a deep breath,
Real quick, we're gonna stop it real quick right there. But that's another thing. Starlight also could have used the time spell to go back and fix things too. Because I remember she used it. Well, maybe I could be wrong. Because, you know, a lot of people know a little bit more in depth of the show than a little bit than I do near season 6 and all that. But I remember she tampered with time and tried to ruin Twilight's friendship with her friends and all that. But if she survives, she could go back and use that same time spell, possibly, or whatever they used. I remember that I think she was using something to travel back in time. But if she does, she might have a chance to make sure they don't find that egg. You know what I'm saying? That would be quite the story ending. Like, all in that universe, they all die, and she has to go back in time again to save them again. That would be cool. I like that, but I don't think that's what happens. I kind of forget, because this would be like the second time I listened to it, because I didn't want to read it again until I was ready to do reaction videos and stuff and actually make a pure reaction of it. But like I said, you guys want me to do another video and actually read some fan fiction, let me know, for real. I'll go ahead and do that, but I just got to get some equipment. I need a computer, I need some other stuff, and stuff I could read off of. I'm going to need my reading glasses. I usually wear reading glasses, but not all the time. I just kind of wing it. But again, thank you guys so much for the comments. I do appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that you guys really do like my videos and you want more. And I promise to give you more. You just got to give me a little bit of time, because uploading with just one phone it's a little bit tricky, but it gets there. But I will re-upload and post a new video when I can. That was the end of what was it, part 14 of chapter 5, and now I think we're on part 15 of chapter 5. But we're actually halfway through it, so we're almost done. We left off on 24-21 on the story, and I want to give everybody a thank you so much for the comments again, and especially Forsaken Paladin 616 for giving me the idea to continue and actually do some read-throughs of my own and read you guys stories, and you guys get to hear my voice. I do have a Yeti microphone. But the thing is, like I said, I don't got a laptop. I need a laptop so we can get crisp sound, you know what I'm saying? And if I can do that, that'd be great. And if you guys also know any other sites I can read fan fiction from, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Just let me know. And I know, Fanfiction is also one of them. But I'll look it up, and I'll try to copy some stories down and read them. But I think I'm just gonna do maybe a couple more reaction videos after this specific one. And then I'll start to read, because by then I'll have a laptop and we'll be all good. I'm trying to get like a $1,000 gaming laptop, so that way, like, not only I can play games on it, I can record my videos, because I have a 1 terabyte hard drive, and all I need to do is hook that bitch up and we're good. So, but without further ado, I really do appreciate you guys commenting and, telling me what your favorite candy is. Let me know what that is. And also, just a big shout out to Forsaken Paladin. I want to thank you for that comment. That comment really meant a lot to me. You have no idea. Everybody's comments mean a lot to me. But yeah, thank you so much. It really means a lot. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Haunted Gamer Pony, signing out.